5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Welcome to the GHT Overland Podcast, where we visit with overland travelers and explorers around the globe, learning from their experiences, passing on their tips, and enjoying their stories. I'm Chris.
And I'm Lisa. We are from a little city called Washougal in Washington State, known as the entrance to the Columbia River Gorge. Today's featured guest is Travis Rabenberg. After a trip around the world on a motorcycle, Travis then completed an overland trip that was 14 months and 27,000 miles from Michigan to Chile. Travis then converted an ambulance in 90 days and is currently on an Alaska trip.
Very good. That was a quick conversion in 90 days. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Travis.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Now, in our pre-show research, we were blown away with the amount of travel and adventure you've done. Fill us in on any details that we may have missed in your intro, along with what inspired such an amazing lifestyle.
Well, it's less of an inspiration of being an amazing lifestyle. I feel flattered by that. It's more of an inspiration of not being regretful. If you guys have ever seen the movie Without a Paddle, and then the guy that dies, they have a video, and the buddies are all sitting there and they're sad, and they're like, oh, well, look at I forgot his name. Joe, look how great Joe's life was. He met Prince whoever, and he went to Everest, and he did this, and he did that. And I was sitting there watching that, and I remember in 8th grade we went to an old folks' home, and all the old people came, and they go, oh, I regret I didn't travel. Or nobody there ever said, oh, I really regret spending that money and going backpacking through Europe when I was 22. So that's kind of was my inspiration to, well, I don't want to really have any regrets. So then I started the trip, and then another one, and then another one, another one, and now I'm on another one, and 51 countries and 6 continents later, I'm heading to Alaska.
That's great. So you're headed to Alaska, and where are we talking to you from today?
Today I'm about 5 miles outside Flagstaff, Arizona. We're about 7,000 feet high on a mountain just outside there. I work online. I work remote. So it's the one mountain I could find Wi-Fi on. So it was definitely some wheeling to get here, but I got my solar panels and everything set up, and I got my Wi-Fi device. And so yeah, I can work remote, and I got 40 gallons of fresh water, so I can chill out here for a bit, and then start rolling north again.
That's great. You're set.
And how long have you been traveling as an overlander?
On and off. I think we totaled it up a little over 5 years of consistently being on the road.
Gotcha. Any specific recovery gear that you use or would recommend, like, I don't know, Max Tracks or a high lift jack or a winch that you've installed on your ambulance?
It's kind of funny you mention that, because my Sportsmobile, I decked it out. I had everything. And you know what? I used it, but only twice. I used the high lift one time in 27,000 miles. I used the winch 2 times. I really don't think you need all that stuff, but it depends what your wheeling is. Me, I'm a crate surfer. I don't really go hardcore wheeling. What I do, though, is a little hard on vehicles. I go between 1 and 3 miles of deep river wash. So where the tides wash up, that's how we get down to the beach. So 4-6 inches of deep sugary sand with logs and spare tires and other crap in it that you end up driving through. So when you have, well, the ambulance right now is 12,000 pounds, the Sportsmobile is 11,000 pounds. When you have that much weight going through that much debris, you need large tires for de-airing down, and you need high ground clearance. When you go talk to a tire manufacturer or someone, they kind of laugh at you and go, well, you just told us you only go 3 miles off-road. But that's technically not a road. That is just off-roading through wash and marsh. And he goes, that's hard on everything. So you have to build your truck to take everything, even though this is what you're going on. So for this build, the one thing I don't travel without is Go Treads. They're a foldable plastic traction mat. They were at the Overland Expo. The best thing is they fold up small, and you can use them as leveling blocks. So I end up using them every day for leveling blocks. I carry 4 of those now, no winch. I have tow straps and a shovel and traction mats. and I can get out about as whatever I need with that. I'm running 37-inch tires on this ambulance, so when they air all the way down to their full bead lock, so I can air them down to 0 if I want, but we run them down to about 20 psi. It's a big enough footprint. We can get in and out of wherever we need to go in 4-wheel drive. And if you can't get in and out of there, don't go.
Yeah, perfect. Those times that you used the high lift or the winch, would you have found another way out, or could you have just avoided that those spots that you went into so you absolutely didn't need them?
Both time, well, the first time was definitely my fault. Went into Baja, and I was trying to get down to this beach where they kite surf, and it was a king tide area, so the sand was all salty, and I got just maybe a foot off of the hard pack, and it sunk it front and rear up to the axles. And that night would have been a king tide, so I unrolled my winch 100 feet out, buried my spare tire down 4 feet by 4 feet hole, dug it, covered all back up, winched it. Even though that tire was 4 feet down, it still moved the earth a foot over, but it winched myself out. And so that was a big saver there. But I mean, I always carry either a motorcycle, or in South America. Just so your viewers know, in South America, you cannot cross borders. I'm a single guy. I travel by myself. You can't cross borders with 2 titles. So for South America, I had a motoped. It's a downhill mountain bike with a 49cc 4-stroke engine. Okay. So a moped you don't have to import. It's legally a bicycle in every country except Chile. So when I went into Chile, I took the motor out and put it in the bathroom, and the Chileans just looked at the bike and they looked at me and they're like, "Gringo loco," which you get everywhere. But yeah, awesome. And so we may or may not have put 125cc 4-stroke in there, and so it does 70 miles an hour. But I did that all through South America, and now that I'm in North America and I've raced for so long, I wanted a little bigger bike. So we picked up a DRZ 400 and threw it on the back of the ambulance and taken that up to Alaska.
Okay, perfect.
And when you did your Michigan to Chile trip, anything you originally packed that you never used or removed from your overall setup?
High lift jack used one time. I would never bring one of those again. I would bring 2 bottle jacks. One thing is, a lot of the Germans carry bottle jacks, and I wish I had 2 because down there they can't rotate your tires. And I always run large mud mud terrain tires, and they're recommended to actually rotate them every oil change. So the problem is when I'm 12 feet tall with that one, a little over 10 foot with the Sportsmobile high top, you couldn't fit in the lifts. They can only lift it up, and the suspension sag is so far the tires are still on the ground when they lift it up. Yeah. So high lift I wouldn't bring with, and I think that's about it. But you slowly shed it the whole way you're going. You always toss stuff out.
What is that one thing you value the most and always make sure you have with you?
2 things: a fridge and those goat treads. They're really good for leveling your vehicle. They're like $100. So having a level vehicle and a fridge that works, those are 2 like huge things.
What fridge do you use, Travis?
I have a Duramax CRX 1050. Runs on AC and DC. It's out of sailboats because it allows a further lean for the vehicle if you're in a different angle or whatnot. And it's a marine grade, not an RV grade, so it seems to hold up a lot better. The reason I went with this one is it's narrow. It's only like 15 3/4 inches wide. So for an ambulance build, it tucks right in there. And then I had the same one for the Sportsmobile because it fit between the countertops. I like to have a very long counter. I have a 6-foot counter in here. So my fridge is a bit narrow and a little taller. So that's the way I like to lay out my builds.
Okay, cool. What are 2 or 3 destinations that you've been that really stood out to you as maybe kind of a favorite, and what really made them real special for you?
All right, my top 3 out of travel in the world. Number 1, I was on a motorcycle. It's a little older, but Slovenia. Lake Bled, Slovenia. Definitely up there. There's castles and the water's gorgeous, and the country's only 300 kilometers north, south, east, west, like total. And you got the Alps, you got good riding, and it's right on the Mediterranean when you shoot down. So I really like Slovenia. It's a very underrated country, and BMW had tours there. That was a lot of fun. My second country would be Mexico. We end up keep doing little trips to Mexico. I mean, like when you're younger, I would go to Cancun or wherever. But after riding or driving all the way through Mexico, 3 months in Baja and then the East Coast near Veracruz and all the way up, it was amazing. There's mountains and high waterfalls, and I was driving with some girls, and they're two German girls in their van, and they go, "This is just like Germany." I go, "I know, this is crazy. Who knew Mexico had this?" They're like, "We never seen this in a brochure." I go, "Neither have I."
It's awesome.
So we really enjoyed that. We went up to the mountains where the butterflies are, and that was about 11,000 feet at night. We slept and seen where all the monarch butterflies fly all the way down. So that was just really, really nice. And there was 3 of us overlanders. So we parked in a circle around each other. And then when they only cook with wood. So when they closed all the shops, they still had some wood in the little outdoor barrels. So we kind of all went out there and grouped around and quick started cooking our food while the fires were already lit. So that was kind of cool to have all of us around. And then everyone came into my van and had movie night because I had a laptop set up. It's weird. You got this small van, but then you got 7 people watching a movie piled on top of each other, and we're just as happy as can be.
That's awesome.
And the third one would be definitely Colombia. I really, really, really liked Colombia. I did all over Colombia, all the way up to Cabo de la Vila. That was 147 kilometers of no road. You're just driving in the desert, and your GPS says turn left. And whoever was riding with me just looks at me like, "Really?" Like, there's not even a 2-track. There's just tracks in every direction. And we have to take a 90-degree left turn. So that's a big kite surfing destination. So you get all the way in the middle of nowhere, and there's these huts, and there's good wind, so you kite there. And then a place not many people stop at, it's just outside the volcanoes, just north of Cartagena, would be Santa Marta, or Santa Veronica. Santa Veronica is a little further south. So that was cool. And then like the drug cartel houses that are still there, like Pablo Escobar's old house. It's really cool. They're hostels. And a lot of overlanders don't know this, but down there, I was staying at a 4-star hotel. I went and talked to the owners, and they said, as long as you buy dinner here, you can park out front and use our pool, and then just use the bathroom and the showers of our pool. So I never paid for camping one day of South America. I went to the hotels, asked them if I eat dinner here, can I stay? They said sure. And the big thing is, if you're coming from North America going south, stock up on atomic fireballs. I am not kidding. Atomic fireballs at every border patrol, every time they pull you over, because they go, "Oh, you tough? Oh, you have this candy." And they're like, "Oh, candy that's tough?" And then it's hot. And then they're all... It's great. I mean, it works really good when you get searched. That works great. Awesome. And so I would give atomic fireballs to the security guys. So every night they'd come over and go, "Do you have American candy? American candy?" "Oh, sure." And they would really watch your stuff because you're the guy with the good candy. Give them a couple dollars, you're the same as everybody. You give them a candy they can't get, now you're in high demand.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
That's good. I love it.
That's great. Tell us about your kitchen setup and anything you would change about it.
Kitchen setup. So, as many years as I've traveled, I think there's 3 types of overlanders, and almost every overlander can be wrapped up into these 3. Number 1 is small, fuel efficient, and an outdoor kitchen, so you can't stand up inside. The second group is you can stand up inside, but you don't have a bathroom or a shower. That was my last vehicle. And then the third size, these are getting pretty big because they're carrying water. They have a bathroom, a shower, and a sink. My kitchen setup is I got some Corian counter, stainless steel sink, fridge. It's about 6 feet long, and we're running a dual Dometic alcohol stove out of a sailboat. After traveling this long, I've really realized the Germans know what's up. They get everything that's super simple. My heating system on this RV is a Webesto heater. It's a diesel heat pump that heats radiator fluid. It gets plumbed into my heater, into my heat exchanger for hot water, into my floor for added heat on the floor, and then it also gets rerouted back into the engine to heat the engine. And it burns 1 gallon of diesel every 10 hours. So the Germans run that. They run this alcohol stove. You can get alcohol to put on your fingernails. You can pretty much run whatever you want in it. and it has one little moving flap, and that's it. So super durable, super simple, and runs on anything. That way I don't have to carry propane tanks anymore.
Okay. All right, cool. Anything else in your kitchen you'd like to add?
Yeah, the one luxury thing I put in my kitchen this time is a hood. The one thing is when you're cooking and you're, I don't know, in a dangerous area, or I'm heading to bear country or fly country, as a lot of people are telling me about it in Alaska, having a small little hood above it, I mean, it's big in the RV world, but not the Overlander world. A hood's great because you turn that thing on, it sucks all the smoke out. If you're doing this for 10 months, 6 months, whatever, your ceiling really starts to start showing smoke stains and whatever from hamburgers inside. And I really don't like not having hamburger night just because there's mosquitoes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have hamburger night.
Absolutely.
Right?
Sweet. Smart.
What is your favorite meal you like to cook on the road?
Is it going to be a burger?
I'm pretty bad at this part. Bevan and Claire felt pity on me next to me camping at the first Overland Expo, so they gave me a going away present, two best presents I've ever gotten on the road. A hydro flask, holds ice all day long, and then they gave me a GSI pressure cooker, all aluminum. The handle's very small. South America, your meat's really rough and hard to chew, and there's always rice. So you throw that in there, you throw whatever meat, and you make kind of a gumbo, whatever. So it's kind of what I got used to making in South America, just dump the junk in there. But to be honest, Colombia, I had to eat out every day, so that worked out great. And if the peso exchange rate's good, I eat out dinner as much as I can.
Pretty smart. So if you're not able to, if you're going on an extended stay where you're not going to be within range of a grocery store or something, have you, as a single traveler, have you figured out a way to make sure that you've got a minimum amount of supplies so that you've got food?
Yes. I've met quite a few people in South America who got stuck for 3 days. Big thing in Colombia is mudslides. I ended up staying in Colombia much longer than I thought. I stayed the full 3 months to the hour on my visa because I liked Colombia so much. But the problem is I ended up leaving in the rainy season. So going down through Cali and stuff, you get a lot of rock slides. They're only like little 1-inch pebble kind of rock slide, but it's like 5 truckloads cover the entire road. And then you got to wait in these long lines. And I heard stories of 2 or 3 overlanders down there that got stuck because the road actually gave way. And they were stuck there more than 3 days or 4 days or whatever. The government has a strict rule. I think it's 5 days, 5 or 7. At that time, they have to fly you out with a helicopter. They were there like 2.5 or 3 days, and they ran out of food, so they left their rig. And by the time they came back, it was completely gutted. So when I'm in the States, I just get on Amazon and get the cheapest, they have like a 3-day meal bar thing with some water and whatever, and I just put that in a little plastic tote. And you always know you have like a hidden compartment or a little spot that's almost impossible to get to, maybe behind your AC unit or something. And I wedge that in there, and it's a little tote, and it's packed full of protein bars and some water and stuff. So I know for sure, I have 3 days of food stashed in my van if I really need it. It'll taste like crap, but it'll work.
But it'll get you through.
Right. So that's kind of a little trick I learned after living down there for kind of keeping going. No, normally I stock up while traveling. It's amazing how nice it is, like when you actually see a Walmart. Typical shopping in South America takes 4 hours your first time. Everyone kind of laughs at me and goes, oh, okay. And then you see them 2 weeks later and they go, I spent 4 hours. Because you don't know the store, you don't know what you're looking at, you're translating it from English to Spanish, you're translating the prices from pesos to dollars, and then you finally are like, okay, I got everything, and then you leave. But if you go to a Walmart, it's laid out the same, the product looks pretty much the same, and you're just like, okay, these are green beans, I'm getting these, and this is oil,
I know what
I'm
these
getting
are.
the oil.
That's great. So how do you do your laundry on the road? Have you found a way to do that, or are you generally hitting the laundromats?
So Mexico was amazing. Everything I owned in the vehicle weighed 13 kilos, and it cost like $6 to have it washed, pressed, folded, put in a plastic bag, and delivered. But the further south you got, I think Colombia was expensive. One country I paid $23 to have laundry done. At that point, then I noticed the Germans do two things. One, they have these big plastic totes on their roof that are black. They fill it with water, they throw their laundry in it, and they drive around. Sun heats it up, it gets beat up for a couple hours, the top of the vehicle sways a lot more, and then it's super warm, super clean. They do that all through Africa.
Yep.
So on this ambulance build, I got done, and I had this room underneath my fridge on this cabinet, and I go, oh, the one thing if you are building your rig right now, remember dirty laundry, because everybody builds a cabinet for clean laundry. Nobody builds a cabinet for dirty laundry. So we have a 5-gallon bucket under the fridge and a little laundry chute. You throw it in the laundry chute, it goes in the bucket. When the bucket's full, you dump some water in it, some soap, the top screws on. Then when you drive to your next town, it bounces around in there and gets all clean.
And that's inside?
Yes. Yep.
Is that right? Okay.
Inside my tool cabinet right under my fridge in the ambulance.
Okay, perfect.
And along hygiene, do you have a shower and toilet setup, or what's your preferred method of bathing?
So, for this vehicle, that was a big thing. So the ambulances have a lower step, and Turtle Expedition, I'm sure you guys know those guys. They copy the Germans. Germans do a great job. They walk through the bathroom to get into your vehicle. So I have a small sprayer in that entryway and a curtain that wraps around. Because the big thing for me is showers. Toilets, that's never a problem. I can either go pee in the bushes, or there seems to be a toilet from Michigan all the way down. I never had a problem without a toilet. So I don't really... The Dometic provided me one, a cassette toilet that goes underneath for extreme cases, but I would prefer getting one of those fancy Cabela's buckets with plastic bag and bag it and toast it and gone. Because I really don't like carrying around a bunch of poo in my vehicle.
I would agree with that.
Me too.
Yeah, hot showers are key, though. That's the big thing. Outdoor showers, I kite surf, so I'm in very windy areas, and I found out real quick that putting a shower head above your head doesn't mean the water is going to make it down to you in a 40-mile-an-hour wind.
That's true.
So I got a pop tent, and this pop tent's going to be great. Well, now I got to hold the tent down while I'm trying to take a shower, and it was just awful. So for me, I really want a shower I can get in, take my wetsuit off, wash all my legs and the salt off, and then go about my day. So that's why I like this setup. So the setup is a Dubé sprayer. So it's a trigger-loaded sprayer because you use 53% less water when you're showering. And when I used the switch ones, after a while with the water pressure, that on-off switch would no longer work on the handle. So spring-loaded is a lot easier. You use less water. And then we also put a marine-grade foot pedal in for our sink in the kitchen. So when you wash your hands, you let off the foot, and then the water stops, then you hit the foot again, and then the water pressure goes from the pump, and then you wash your hands. So that's supposed to be a 43% increase in water efficiency. So I don't have low-flow heads, so I get the proper water I want. But those two little things, a spring-loaded trigger on your hand shower and then a spring-loaded foot pedal on your sink, those two things really help your water cut down. And then my dishes, I don't do dishes with water. I only use, and I could get them all the way through South America, Lysol disinfectant wipes. So I wipe all my dishes down. I don't use any water. I wipe the countertops down, kills all the bacteria. We're good to go.
Okay, smart.
Anything you change about your current setup?
From the Sportsmobile to this one, I changed a lot. This one I really, really like. I wish the ceiling, I will be changing it. I wish the ceiling was an inch taller because I'm 5'6", and it's exactly 5'6". So each of the lights hit you in the head, which is a bit annoying. This ambulance body is really hard to get. It's 7 feet wide by 5'6" tall on the inside. When I'm off-road and I can handle a 7-foot wide vehicle, I didn't want to go with a large 8-foot wide vehicle because those get up to 14,000 pounds, and this is a lightweight at 12,000 pounds loaded, 11,000 pounds empty.
Okay. So what has been your number one biggest challenge you've had to overcome on the road?
Loneliness. So every Walmart parking lot or whatever parking lot you go to, everybody's your friend. Everybody's super happy to see you. But as soon as you pull in the campground, wherever, everyone goes to their vehicles and closes their doors, and they're all couples, or they're retired, or they're young hipsters in their little van. And everybody seems to be coupled, and then here's the one weird guy in an ambulance that's going to Alaska, and he's been everywhere. So that's kind of like the hard thing. And then like when you come back in, there's something called re-entry shocks. When you come back into the U.S. and you've been gone 14 months, you find out an iPhone costs like $800 now, or the opposite, a drone that was $1,200 are now like $250 for a drone, and you're like, what?
Yep.
And then you go on a date, and the worst thing is you try and pick up a girl at a bar and go, hey, I've been to Mount Everest, I sailed across the Atlantic, and I rode a motorcycle around the world. I just finished Chile, and I flew back last week. How are you? And they look at you and go, yeah, right. And they walk away from you. So relating coming back is pretty difficult to relate to people. So then it's kind of like, well, maybe I fit better with the overlanders, so I'll just go back on the road.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a really good point. So border crossings, any tips or any that really stand out to you?
I have an amazing border crossing story for you. It's probably the most amazing story for border crossing. I have 2 tips. Number 1, dogs. Do you have a dog and you want to border cross? You have a lot of paperwork. We met this couple, and they trained their dog to sit on the other side of the border. They drove across the border. They do all the paperwork. Takes about an hour. They get to the other side. They do their dog whistle, and that dog takes off at a full sprint all the way across the border. And you watch those Border Patrol guys just stand there like, I'm not stopping a black lab in a full sprint. He could just go. Dog runs across the border, hops in the truck, away they go. No paperwork, nothing to do. So that one I liked. And then my favorite border issue is, so I met this older couple in, I met them in Hotel Torral in Colombia, or Chile, northern Chile. The guy is about 6'3" and 160 pounds, German, white hair, thick glasses, super skinny. And then the wife is like 4'11", pretty round, from Argentina. And they're professional clowns. And what they do is their thing is they live for getting pulled over by the police. That is what they dream for. They get so excited. They drive a large Unimog with clowns painted on the walls and everything. And when they get pulled over, he puts on these thick glasses and this fedora, and he only speaks German. He's got his map, and I mean, he's super German looking. He's, I need directions, And then the police are all yelling at him. And she's a little chubby and shorter, and so she acts mentally challenged, and she gets out as soon as they stop and get pulled over and know it's going to be scary. She hops out, and she takes off running. And they're like, the police don't know what to do with this. They don't have mentally handicapped people. So she goes into the police station, and she goes, I'm going to eat as much of their food as I can. So the guy's sitting there eating. She starts eating his food, throwing his paperwork, going in the fridge. And when they go to grab her, she starts screaming like she's been attacked. And then everybody backs off like, what do we do? Then she takes off again. And then they're chasing her around the police station. And then she's going back and forth around the desk kiosk, and they're trying to catch her. And they get her, and then she's screaming, and then they let her go. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And she goes, yes. But whatever you do, Travis, never break character. They put me in jail for 1.5 hours, and finally they say, she crazy? Get out. Oh. So their record's 3 hours of holding the police up. So they're chasing her around. She's throwing paperwork, just drinking their food, drinking their coffee, throwing their food, eat whatever. And they finally get her back, and then they're getting her up, and it's a Unimog, so it's really high. As soon as they got to the step, the guy turned around because he thought she was getting in. She took off running again. Oh, my gosh. She got back to the police station. They're holding the door from the inside of the station going, not letting her in.
Never break character. That's great. Okay. So any experience when you're doing border crossings for yourself, like how long should people plan for that, or anything that you would recommend that they pre-plan and have with them?
Realistically, all day. Always plan for a day,
okay,
and then you'll be safe. What are the things that I learned that really help with border crossings? What vehicle you pick. Everybody I've met that goes, I'm going to have a vehicle that's stealthy, they really got picked on a lot. Because when you look through the windows and you see two German girls driving a VW with German plates, oh, well, we're going to go pull them over. So when you see an American, a gringo with 35-inch tires, a lift kit, a website all the way across the side, a motorcycle on the back, they just look at that and go, no, like, I'm not bothering with that. And the big thing with the van that worked out good is South America, they're short. I'm short. So the van, if they can't see into the van, I was told that it's a very demasculizing thing. So they don't want to sit there and do paperwork a long time because they feel like a little child. So I would always really play into this. When I handed them paperwork, I'd reach all the way down and hand it to them right at their belt buckle. So then they'd kind of be looking up at you like, this is high. And the nice thing about a tall vehicle is they can't see in. When they pull you over and they see in, you don't have anything on your dash ever. Even at night, you don't leave a cell phone out, nothing. When you charge cell phones, you put them in compartments. When they look in and they see an iPhone, they go, that's a nice iPhone. I don't have an iPhone. I need an iPhone. And so when it's taller, even though I have everything hidden, every border crossing and come up, police, whatever, I take my phones and I hide them. Or I have burn phones like iPhone 4 that you pick up for $20, and in South America it's worth a whole bunch of money. Yeah, bring 8 of them if you guys want unlocked. But iPhone 4, that's when I run my offline mapping system on, so that's there. So if they really want it, I'll give it to them. I paid $20 on Craigslist. So that's the thing though. So they want cell phones, and then the other thing is, so my van, when they come into the back, same for my ambulance, I do not have a step. That I don't have anything metal hanging down, A, for ground clearance, and B, I have a folding step, and a folding step's always tucked away, and I don't open it for them. I don't have any handles to get into the vehicle. So what you do is, if you have an old captain with a big beer belly, and I'm 5'6", the bottom of my floorboards are at my belly button. So what he did is he puts his belly on the floorboards and then tries to roll in. But with that van, there's no handles anywhere at all. There's nothing. So he can't grip to get in. So he sends the young kid in. So young kid always comes to the back of the ambulance or whatever, the Sportsmobile, and I have a dirt bike magazine and some atomic fireballs. He's like, oh, can I? Sure. So he reads the magazine. He eats some candy. The boss can't see him. Normally goes on for about 7 minutes. Then the boss starts yelling at him, and he starts opening and closing cabinets while he's still looking at the dirt bike magazine, and then he takes off. Pretty much that is what I've gone through, and that has worked 85% of the time. You're not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to work. But a lift kit, no steps, always hide the cell phone, candy bar or some candies in the back, American candies. I like the fireballs because they don't melt or anything. Put those in the back, put a magazine in the back. They're super stoked. They got some guy's magazine. This is cool. Trucks, motorcycles, whatever. And then when all general yells, oh, okay, I'm back. Nope, they're okay because he got to play for 5 minutes. He's happy. So that was a really, 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 really big thing. And the guys with the Unimogs, they all do that. I met down there. They don't have ladders. They have ladders tucked away and stairs tucked away. But when they get inspected, they have just one little foot thing that folds down. And they make it really difficult to get in and out. So those overweight, older police guys, they say it's not worth the hassle, and they just wave you through.
Gotcha. Okay. Any specific safety planning you do or tips that you can provide our listeners on safety and security?
Yes. 2 big safety things. One, if you're building a vehicle, like my ambulance, all my windows are over 6 feet high. All the Unimogs, everything, their windows are very high, and they're small. My windows are, I feel like they're large. They're 20 inches by 20 inches, and they're 6 feet off the ground. So you're going to break into it, climb up 6 feet, and then try and get into the window. It's going to be pretty difficult. Downside, like for my van, those windows were really low. You just break right into the window, and in you go. You're never going to make a vehicle that's invincible.
That was a lot of really good information.
An ambulance build, I've never really thought about doing that.
Yeah, that was a little bit different. I think you did a really good job. I think it's pretty smart, actually, with the way that the vehicle is built. And the inside, he really did a nice job. It's nice and clean.
This interview with Travis is our standard 2-episode format for your downloading pleasure. Don't worry, new episodes are released each Thursday.
Yep, in next week's episode, we'll finish talking about security on the road, navigation and communication, vehicle maintenance and repair, plus all the finer details of Travis's overall build.
It's a good idea to visit the show notes page on our website at ghtoverland.com. Click on podcasts, then select the YetiAmbo with Travis episode. All the details and helpful links are there for you.
Be sure to send your questions, suggestions, and feedback to ghtoverlandpodcast@gmail.com. If you have an Amazon Echo, be sure to tell Alexa, play the GHT Overland Podcast.
Getting the latest episode of GHT Overland Podcast. Here it is from TuneIn.
You can also add the GHT Overland skill to your news briefings. If you're listening to this in June of 2018 when it goes live, we hope to meet you next weekend, June 28th through July 1st, at the Northwest Overland Rally in the beautiful Cascade Mountains of Plain, Washington. Travis is also going to be there doing a class on gaining sponsorships as an overlander. So if you're into that sort of thing, that should be a lot of fun.
We are also looking for your favorite overlander recipes. Generally something quick, easy, and delicious, or even something that you think is worth any extra effort for special meals on the road. Send them to ghtoverlandpodcast@gmail.com. Include your information, the name of the recipe, and a picture. If I can make it and Chris likes it, we will be creating a recipe page on our website for all overlanders to enjoy.
Now, before you race off, it would mean the world to us if you'd share the podcast with a friend or two. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes as we release them. And pop up a nice rate and review for us. We'd appreciate it.
Thank you, and we will see you next Thursday over on part 2. What are you waiting for? Go give us a little podcast love with a subscribe, rate, and review. Bye.